Welcome to the Pride of Detroit PODcast. PrideofDetroit.com, Pride of Detroit on Twitter, Pride of Detroit on Facebook. Hey, you know where to find us. Get us live now on twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit, youtube.com/at Pride of Detroit, where you can catch us live evenings after every Lions game, or if it's a late game, sometimes the next day on a Monday. Either way, we bring you all the Lions content. We bring you the wrap-ups from all of these games, your companion to figuring out how well the Lions did. And boy, do they do pretty well in this one. 50 burgers are fun. Scorigamis are fun. Pulling the starters in the fourth quarter usually means Hendon Hooker's right now a victory cigar and Hooker. And that's exactly what the Lions did against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we're going to break it all down in 5 seconds. But first, we introduce everyone. I am Chris Perfett, the adequate host, at Chris Perfett on X and at Perfett on Blue Sky. Been spending this Sunday posting on Blue Sky and having a lot of fun with people. So yeah, we're making this move, not abandoning the other platform yet. Jeremy Reisman, the fearless leader, now has a X account back. At Detroit Online.
For now. We'll see.
For now.
I don't want to talk about social media. I'd rather talk about this Lions football game, to be quite honest,
absolutely.
because it's so damn fun, and I'd never want to lose sight of how, magnificently boring these games are in a way that is the best. I know Lions fans go into every Sunday. A lot of them go into every Sunday, pleading, can we just have a stress-free Sunday? Well, you have gotten a lot more stress-free Sundays than most teams are afforded in 5 years this year.
This is rare. Blowouts are rare in the NFL, and the Lions have quite a few of them right now. Ryan Matthews, at Ryan_POD and at RyanPOD on Blue Sky, is living with zero stress in his brain right now. At least Lions related.
I mean, that's got to be true, right? And you already hit on the point I wanted to. Remember at the beginning of the season, it was, oh man, the Lions are good, but they never. When do they really blow out football teams? And it's like, okay, well, they
Here we go.
they have buried some football teams that are no bueno. The Tennessee Titans, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm kind of circling the AFC South right now, aside from the Houston Texans, but
3 of their last 6 games, complete blowouts.
The Dallas Cowboys game, right? Yeah.
Oh my God.
An absolute blowout, right? The Lions are blowing out bad football teams in a way that, complaints from yesteryear were, oh man, they let these teams hang around. No. No more
sir.
hanging around. No more hanging around. Going for it, up 42, whatever, fourth down, doesn't matter.
I am watching people begging them to take out the starters sooner than Dan Campbell is taking out the starters.
Yeah.
Well, I thought Dan had a really smart, interesting answer when he was asked about that, because he got peppered with a lot of questions about pulling his starters, and part of it, his answer was at the same time he got asked a question before, which was we only have 53 guys. We can't pull everybody. We had to keep Panay out there because we only have 3 tackles, and we were giving the 30-year-old guy a break over the 23-year-old guy. But the other answer, which I thought was really cool and really kind of a very Dan Campbell answer, was just we are not going to sacrifice our identity to play safe football. We don't do that here, which I'm hell yeah, buddy. Let's just pour it on, because that's who we are.
That might as well be a memo to the every player in the NFL. You want to come here and dunk on guys? Okay. Yeah. You're welcome to come here. You want to pad those stats and get a contract? Come here.
Well, I feel also playing it safe sometimes, you're going to get in trouble one of those days doing it. It's better just not to take the chance. What's the 3-body dark forest theory? Just nuke whoever you find. Nuke them. Don't let them be a threat at all. Just nuke them down to bedrock. Don't let, I had people asking me, is this on the preview, is this going to be a trap game? And I'm the Lions don't have trap games anymore. They're prepared to just annihilate whoever they see out there. They do not, on one hand, they're powerful enough to annihilate someone, but the other hand, they don't overlook anyone. They weren't just being yeah, it's Mac Jones. Let's give him, Ryan, let's give him a looser cover and maybe allow some short stuff to him or something. Like we'll be able to stop him in the long term. No, they shut down Mac Jones, multiple 3-and-outs, Doug Peterson giving up and punting immediately, and the Lions on 7 drives with the starters, 7 touchdowns.
I truly think that it's more than just trap games though. Like this
Mm-hmm.
football team is spot game free. And what I mean by that is there's no it's like almost like narrative free football. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
Lions aren't going to lose a game because they're in a quote unquote like look ahead spot, right? Like they might be looking at next week's game. Nope, that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like there isn't like, oh, short rest doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Like the Lions are always going to be prepared to give you their absolute best, and that is to Jeremy and bringing up what he said about Dan Campbell, right? Like they're not going to sacrifice their identity for whatever reason. So I truly think they're playing spot free football in a way that I've never seen a football team play professionally in Detroit.
Let me pull the exact Dan Campbell quote because I think it's solid. He says, quote, "I do not want to let the fear of injury take away from our identity. That'll always be most important to me. More so the minute you start worrying about injuries, that's when bad things happen." So that's kind of, I'll finish with that. It was on my mind.
Yeah.
That was him going back to the question because it was still, I think, bothering him that like he was almost being accused of not pulling his starters quick enough or running up the score or whatever. But I think this again, like it speaks to the importance of culture and speaks to the importance of this coaching staff and the influence they've had on the players because they've always been a gritty team, right? Like they've always, even when the talent wasn't there, they're I think of the 49ers season opener where they're down like 3 or 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and they almost come back. They're playing from starting whistle to closing whistle, and now you finally have that attitude combined with the best roster in football, and that is a freaking dangerous thing, man. That is a thing that will get you these regular blowouts, which are so uncommon in the NFL. And I mean, it's savage, and you're starting to hear some of the player quotes coming out of this game. It's like, hey, if you want us to stop, come in and play football against us. Like, come get it. Like, and it's bold, it's in your face, I mean, it's rare to see a team so devoted to scoring in a game in the fourth quarter that they're already up 5 touchdowns on with the same veracity that they're giving you in the first quarter. Like it is rare what we're seeing right now. And I want to make sure that we are savoring it because it's freaking fun.
And I don't even think it's as much running up the score too. Like they're not stepping out of bounds to keep the clock rolling. I mean, to keep the clock stopped so they can milk out whatever they want. This was just a nature of the fact that the Jaguars secondary is really bad. They were showing single high coverage and then dropping into like cover 2 man a lot this game. And then the Lions would just carve them up over the middle. Like they were just annihilating them. And they, I know the Jaguars have a good run defense. It didn't really seem to do much against David. Not today, not against David Montgomery, not against Jahmyr Gibbs hitting the edge and zooming and earning his Sonic nickname once again, going super fast in the blueberries. Like they had no answer for any of the plans the Detroit Lions had. You even saw J-Mo getting involved in a deep pass threat. Like there was no answer for the Jaguars. And when a team can't answer you, what are you supposed to do? Like you maybe you want to try not scoring, but it's kind of hard when they're giving you everything.
And it's hard when you're conditioned to think that every single time you're out there, you are giving it 100%. They can't throttle back because it's not in any of these players' DNA. They built in a roster and a culture of guys that are saying, hey, if I'm out there playing football and it's the regular season, even in practice, like it really starts in practice. It starts in the preseason. Like every time I'm out there, I'm going to kick your ass. That's the condition that's built into these guys. So the scoreboard is irrelevant. The time left in the game is irrelevant. They're going to go out there and kick your ass until Dan Campbell pries them off the field.
I mean, Hendon Hooker was throwing the football while he was in the game, right? Like, I mean, say less. The last thing I want to say to punctuate all of this, if you're directing your questions towards Dan Campbell about, pulling starters and having backups play, you can just find Jalen Reeves-Maybin somewhere in the locker room at some point because he's your president of the NFLPA and you should talk to him about how roster sizes on game day should be a little bit larger, right?
Yeah. The Lions, God bless them, didn't have to worry about anything because they once again scratched all their healthy O-line depth of, guys that could maybe see some time, could have seen some time late in that game,
Yeah.
like Sorsdal or Manu. But no, 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 no. We have to keep all these other guys in because of how much you have to scratch. And like, look, we're going to talk about Anzalone's injury, but I don't think that was an injury that would have happened if you pulled out, that would have been stopped if you had pulled out your starters sooner.
No,
Yeah, my
that was
timeline,
early
that
in the
was
third
early.
quarter.
That was early in the third quarter. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
so like this feels, Ryan, very self-fulfilling prophecy is the right word, but you know what I mean. It feels like we're just trying to find something to critique about them. And maybe that's to Jeremy's point. I'm not going to say it's getting boring because I love watching, Jared Goff throwing touchdowns as much as the next person. It maybe even as more. But I feel like when you start to get up to like these 50 burger laughers, you're starting to try to find some sort of narrative. And by its design, narrative needs some sort of conflict involved in it somewhere.
Yeah, but I think that injury struck a nerve just because it was a blowout and it was reminiscent of what happened in week 6 with Aiden Hutchinson, right?
Yeah.
It was like, oh
Right.
man, like this again, and then not too long after Anzalone gets hurt, the new
Darius
shiny
Smith
toy
is down? Yeah.
right? Yep.
Second quarter, by
but
the way, I was wrong. End of second quarter is when it happened.
yeah, but I mean, I
You're
don't
not
know.
pulling
I don't
your
want,
starters in the first half of a football game.
Yeah, no,
and that was Dan Campbell's initial statement, like way
Right.
back when they were talking about guys coming out early, and he told that story about when he was the intern at Miami and pulled guys off the field,
That's
and
right.
the
Yeah.
other team came back in the game, so they had to get starters back into the game, and it's
Yep.
like that's a disaster, and you don't want that to happen by any means. But can we stop talking about the starters getting pulled early
Yeah.
and talk about the absolute smackdown, the historic beatdown of the Jacksonville Jaguars and how they did JP Acosta a favor maybe, and this was finally the thing that might get
Yeah.
Doug Peterson axed.
Not
in
only is it
Jacksonville?
maybe the thing, I've seen plenty of Jaguars fans also saying like this might have been like they're doing some hoping that this was Ben Johnson's audition to Shad Khan. We'll see about that part, but we'll see on Monday or Tuesday if it does get Doug Peterson fired.
Yeah.
But they looked like a completely incompetent. I don't want to go that mean. You know what? Fine, I'll go that mean. They did not look. This looked like an SEC SoCon weekend. This looked like Alabama beating up on Mercer.
I don't
This
know.
looks like the Jaguars of like 10 years ago, and I hate that I have to do that because I like the Jaguars. They're a fun team. I like their fans. But like this looked like one of these days, Ryan, you remember about 12 years ago, everyone's favorite topic on radio was could Alabama beat the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Yeah.
Like this looked like a beat.
Could Oregon?
Oregon.
Well, Wisconsin almost beat Oregon last night,
Yeah,
but that's neither here nor there. Jeremy, on my 2D screen that I was watching this football game on, I don't know if it was so much incompetence, but it looked like a Jaguars team that had just kind of quit by like the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, defensively, it just seemed like
Defensively, it was not. Yeah,
the Lions were able to do whatever they want. I feel like they were able to fight for an extra 5-6 yards on every play because it just did not seem like the Jacksonville Jaguars were interested in tackling, or they just didn't want any of the smoke. It's very clear. And listen, we obviously need to give the Lions a ton of credit because we've seen them do this to other teams before, and the offensive line was dominant, the receivers were dominant, the running backs were dominant. Jared Goff, I think, I put this in one of my breakdowns, I think this was Jared Goff's best game ever as a Detroit Lion. I thought what he did, not only throwing the ball, but navigating the pocket, was incredible. Offensive line was protecting him pretty well, but anytime there was pressure, like he was sidestepping well, he was stepping up well, and maybe
he was extending plays. Yeah.
As I said in the Pride of Detroit Direct video, maybe the most embarrassing stat for the Jaguars today is Jared Goff 21 rushing yards. Because my goodness, that's the fourth most he's ever had, and I thought Jared Goff could do. It didn't take a sack in this game. Perfect passer rating, 400 plus yards, 4 touchdowns. It was truly a masterclass from him in a way that, in a season in which he's already garnered a ton of MVP talk, that was the best I've seen him play.
I don't know if the 5 interception game might have ended his MVP hopes because I feel like in spite of the fact that he had the fourth quarter and came back from it, people will hold that over his head. And there's a lot of other close candidates right now. And there's some early games in the season where the Lions weren't, stunting on teams the way they are stunting on them now. So I wonder about MVP consideration. I think he'll get some votes, but I will say this. If you were Jared Goff and you wanted to win the MVP after a game where you threw 5 interceptions, this is exactly the game you needed to have.
You couldn't
wanted
have
to have
done anything more to make a case for yourself, and it helps that Lamar Jackson's team lost, right?
Yeah.
Josh Allen maybe has a better case now.
And Lamar Jackson had a pretty rough game by Lamar Jackson's standards. 16 of 33, 207 yards passing, a touchdown and interception. So like there's ebbs and flows, right? Like it's not all okay, 5 interceptions. And even I was kind of quick to be like, okay, 5 interceptions, Lamar is not going to bottom out, but you lose a divisional game against the Steelers, and maybe the AFC North might not be the Ravens to have anymore. So
yeah, and to Jeremy's point, it's the rolling out. It's moving, or not just moving around the pocket. That's something we saw him do in the fourth quarter against the Texans, where he's not dropping back vertically anymore. He's moving out to one side. He's kind of like shifting around. He's trying to make it harder for defenders to get to him off of a blind side. And like that's been key. And he's still connecting with everyone. We had that deep pass to JMO today too. So like he's doing everything you're asking him for.
I mean, that's the thing too, is just like everyone ate today, right? The running game was fantastic. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs combined for 144 yards. As a team, they rushed for 196. JMO sets a career record with 124 yards. Amon-Ra sets a career record with 162 yards.
He lost his reception streak last week, but he is now going on 8 games with a touchdown and had 2 today.
Right, yeah. He set a franchise record with 8 consecutive games with a touchdown, and only 3 or 4 behind, I think, Jerry Rice's NFL record. So offensively, everyone gets an A+. I'm spoiler alert on my report card this week. I don't think you can find a single flaw in the offensive performance today, and let's see more of that. That's really, really freaking fun. And the other thing I want to say about the offensive performance really quick too, is it felt like Ben Johnson was itching for this. If you listen to his press conference on Thursday, and really for the past 3 weeks, he's been like, wow, how about that special teams? How about that defense? Like they're really kind of carrying us over these past 3 games. And he said, like, I want to challenge our guys to carry the team for a game. Well, setting the franchise record in total yards, I think you can say you carried the team. Not that they needed it. Like was freaking firing on all cylinders to bring it to Car Talk.
Heck yeah, and doing it without Sam Laporta too. Like you were down a weapon, right? And
that is honestly the first time I thought about that all day.
Yeah, and then because Shane Zylstra steps up, he's making big passes. Brock Wright, Ryan, I swear he has an invisibility cloak when he catches the ball. No one guards him. Yeah,
Brock Wright is the new John Kaminsky maybe, but for the offense. But the thing that best, encapsulates everything that Jeremy just said. The drives weren't little small Tennessee Titans kind of drives.
Yeah.
Like here we go, right? In order of their consecutive. You guys want to talk about streaking? You want to talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown and his streaking. The offensive streaking today, where they scored 7 straight touchdowns, included drives of 70 yards, 93 yards, 53 yards, 84 yards, 80 yards, 83 yards, and to cap it all off, from their own 4-yard line, a 96-yard drive for a touchdown.
It's wild.
Let me add one more stat to that pile. The Lions ran 76 plays, 38 first downs.
And a Jake Bates field goal. It feels like we're doing like partridge in a pear tree. You know what I mean? But like
8.5 yards per play.
And when we talk about blowouts, though, it's like a blowout in all 3 phases.
Yeah.
Right. Like the Lions were not, they did not get upstaged in any aspect of this football game whatsoever. But this offensive performance, like you said, Jeremy, historic. Yeah. 644 total yards. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
And
Hashtag
Analysis.
hot take analysis. And on the flip side, it's not like this is one of these weirder older games where you look at the score sheet and like, yeah, for whatever reason, the other quarterbacks got like, no, they even with being, I think, kind of nice to Mac Jones, he did not play well at all. And Travis Etienne they had all of 41 rushing yards in this game. Like the defense clamped down on him just as hard as anyone. I didn't even see how many 3-and-outs they had, but I believe they were 2 of 10 on third down.
Yeah. Well, if you want to flip it over to the defense, I mean, a second straight week in a row where the run game absolutely shut down.
Yeah.
You know, Jeremy, you want to talk about Jared Goff, 4 carries for 21 yards. Travis Etienne, 12 carries for 27 yards.
Yeah.
That's something that's a box score that you want to light on fire if you're him, right? Like 17 total carries for 41 yards, a 2.4 average. I mean, of the running backs, it was 14 carries for 30 yards.
Yeah. Long of 9.
Long of 9.
Ass whooping. It's an ass whooping. It's a bona fide, honest to God ass whooping, and you don't see those much in the NFL. Even with bad, this is a Jacksonville Jaguars team that only had 12 points scored on them by Minnesota last week, and they were all field goals. They held Minnesota out of the end
touchdown.
zone. Yeah,
and then they go 7 straight to start the game here.
Different. Hey,
the Lions
was
are
Jacksonville turning a corner?
Yeah, all right. I may have been guilty of arguing that.
Is Mac Jones now comfortable? Could he be?
But it shows how this team is operating on a completely different level than most teams right now. Like I know Minnesota and the Lions, that was a very close game that the Lions just eked out, but I don't think the Vikings are capable of a game like this. I really don't. I think there are probably only a handful of teams that really are. And the Lions are one of them. To add to the defensive conversation, I think the secondary deserves a big shout out for this game.
Absolutely.
They only come down with 2 passes defended, but there actually wasn't a lot of pressure on Mac Jones today. I thought the quarterback pressure was weak in general. I think 3 quarterback hits in total for the Lions in this game when you have, 30 dropbacks from Mac Jones. You want to see a little bit more than that, but I think part of the reason they weren't successful is just they weren't finding open receivers, and Mac Jones was missing a fair amount too, but I think the secondary in general, I did not see any lapses in coverage. I did not see a lot of wide open receivers. And then you come in with a Kirby Joseph interception that was just another eye-popping, jaw-dropping, rangy interception where he's coming from the opposite hash mark and crashing down and jumping the route. And, man, everything is just
gold
good.
Jacket.
Everything is just good right now. And
everything is good and groovy. Everything is fantastic. Just like Righteous Felon craft jerky and meat sticks, which are the food that fuels the Pride of Detroit POD cast. And Jeremy, I believe we saw on the stream. Off stream, I should say. Last night was the Hot Ones Challenge. I emceed that event. And I believe I saw Jeremy trying to use some of the jerky to cool down his mouth. I don't recommend it. Some of this jerky is spicy, but it's good.
You just channel your Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. Hey, man, that's a Russell Wilson on a team that won today. No help from him, I should say. Not sure what he did on that one play. Right, the read. Sure. Each 2-ounce bag of jerky has 16 to 20 grams of protein. Each stick has 8 grams. If it's good enough for us, it'll be good enough for you too. Righteous Felon is based in Westchester, Pennsylvania. They use locally sourced, all-natural Black Angus beef, and they pride themselves on superior quality, revolutionary branding, and unique flavors that go beyond the stereotypical jerky offering. Go to righteousfelon.com right now. You can use the promo code POD15 at checkout. You'll get 15% off your order at any time, not your first order, any order. So use promo code POD15 at righteousfelon.com. When we come back on the POD cast, I think we'll go a little bit deeper into the defense, and we'll talk about Alex Anzalone's injury. And more things that strike our fancy here. We've got another full 30-minute segment to roll through on the Pride of Detroit POD cast when we come back. Hello, chat.
Well, we got something to talk about in chat.
Oh
in a
no, what
minute
happened?
here. Well, let me get through the Twitch and YouTube alerts first, and then we got a lot to talk about after
I need
that.
to get my water bottle because hold on one second.
Bitter Desperado, thank you for the follow on Twitch. East Lansing Riot, thank you for subscribing on YouTube. Yeah, Detroit, 63 months subscribed to the channel. Thank you so much. Griffey Boy, thank you for the 7 months. Says, let's go! No Decaf, thank you for the 62-person raid. And thank you to everybody who hung out in Chris's stream right before we went live. XJ Snake, thank you for the 10-month subscribe to the channel. Says, stress-free Sundays are great. Drone, thank you for the 10 months. Says, it's a weird feeling to not worry about some of these games anymore. Goloins.
Galoins.
Qwerty Aaron, 58 months, says Sewell amount of months. That's right. Man, that's a lot. Joshua Mercer, 100 bits, says, whoa, dude, why am I always catching strays? What do we say about you, Joshua? Is your name Josh Allen?
I don't know.
Well, it was a really good day for one Josh Allen, a really not so good day for the other one.
Josh Hines Allen?
Soulful
The
Break,
artist formerly known.
17 months subscribed to the channel. And Toast, 11 months subscribed. Says Jared Goff, comeback train, Penei Sewell, offensive player of the year. Go Loins. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Oh, and Rob Mendyka, thank you for the 25 months. Says 9-1, baby. Now, in between all of that, and I'm going to run the alert now because it deserves its own alert. Dr. Detroit dropped $2,000 to the Rogel Cancer Center.
I was wondering why there were a bunch of Dr. Detroits in the chat.
Yes.
Now I understand.
$1,000 donation, which gets us up to $15,000, which means we now have to do the Sprite challenge. Unfortunately, I did not buy a Sprite on my way home, which
That's fine.
reminded myself that I was going to do, and then I didn't do it. But we've reached the Sprite challenge goal. What is the next goal? Does it say on the screen? I feel like it does at some point, like rotates through it. But that also means 2 spins on the Wheel of Pain just from that alone. Yeah, and I mean, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. The Watch a Historic Game stream that Ryan and I do, and if you want to join Chris, you can too.
Absolutely. It depends on what the game is, but yeah, no, I know I'm trying to do some historical writing on at least one, but I don't think we'll have the film for it.
Yes. So yeah, shout out Dr. Detroit. I see people filling out the chat again. Much deserved. Thank you so much. How about we do 1 spin now and then 1 spin after the show? Does that seem fair? I'm also now realizing that all of my spin stuff is in the trunk of my car, but I can get that very quickly. Mountain Cali? Hey, well, shout out to Cali. I really do appreciate it, Doctor. That's fantastic.
That's
amazing.
very good. Thank you.
I was just trying to get like a $52 donation train going for 52 points. Just throwing that out there. We are not expecting $2,000 from all of you. All right. Where is the spinny wheel? Widgets. Spinny wheel. I should probably put it on the screen as well. What do we got there? Bean Boozled, Pickle Juice, Vegemite, Eat Bug, Up Downs. All right, if I get Up Downs, I don't have to go into my car. That works.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's just spin it then. What are we waiting for?
Those Up Downs are inside you.
They're inside me. All right. Here we go.
Up Downs are the friends we made along the way.
Well, got to eat some bugs.
No.
All right, I'll go get the bugs.
Always eating things. Yes, thank you. Sorry. Go on.
No. I was just going to ask you guys to take care of the chat while I go get some bugs.
Yeah, yes, HW. My head is doing a lot better. Thank you very much. I am kind of getting a little bit of tension right now, but again, it's gone no higher than a 1 versus what had been, especially on like Friday, where I was like going to urgent cares and stuff. My head is doing tremendously better. Are you doing better, Ryan? I know you were kind of sick as well.
Yeah, I have shingles, so
Oh, yeah.
but I'd rather not talk about it on air.
Okay.
So
I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. Thanks, so.
I okay. I'm sorry. I just try not. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. Never mind. We'll talk about my head. Yes. Yeah. That's
What
fine.
about what about the NFL brought surprise to you this week, Chris?
Oh, what was surprising this week? Well, I mean, Philly looks kind of dominant again, which I'm not surprised about. I guess I kind of okay, like the Chiefs tripping up actually didn't surprise me too much. They finally played the Bills and the Bills are good, but like I'm not sure how to feel about Pittsburgh doing so well at this point in the season. Like it's a team that makes no damn sense, but it compels me.
Hmm. To
Um,
quote a famous
yeah,
Kentucky Fried
yeah.
detective.
But I will say probably the most surprising team right now, and I know they're only 6-5, but I think gotta think it's the Denver Broncos. Like I think I've started seeing people asking if Bo Nix is actually like a real quarterback.
I'll tell you that good friend Nolan Bianchi very much is a Bo Nix believer.
I think he is beating up on the defenses. I mean, he's doing well against the defenses he's supposed to do well against, and the defenses he's supposed to lose to, he's not doing so hot. Like, they just came off two brutal losses to, like, I mean, I know he still threw for, like, what, 200 yards in that Baltimore Ravens game, but I don't think the last two games were great for Bo Nix. And that Jets game was, which they won, was very ugly. And besides that, they played like the Raiders, Saints, and Panthers. So I don't know how to feel about Bo Nix, but I think they are a fairly surprising team and could maybe, depending on the rest of their schedule, could be an interesting late addition to the playoffs. Like their next few games, they're playing the Raiders, Browns, Colts before they play the Chargers, Bengals, Chiefs. Like Ryan, they could sneak in. What was your surprising team, or did you have some other?
Um, hmm. I mean, the Chicago Bears get a participation trophy for today. Those freaking losers. My God, dude. You do anything right?
We had a betting poll as soon as I saw that they were driving down the field to set up for a field goal. I went around the studio. I'm like, all right, I want it right now. Left, right, or short. I should have had blocked as an option, but we were three votes to left, one vote to he's going to make it.
He did not make it.
I mean,
you should know better.
Right now,
Bears game-winning field goals don't happen.
I have as close to sympathy as I ever have for Chicago Bears fans because losing to a Packers team who you haven't beaten in like 3 years like that, and losing on a Hail Mary 2 weeks ago, that's a pretty brutal stretch right there.
In a game where Caleb Williams actually is like looking competent again. Like, what was it, 20?
I just want to know what Adam Rank was doing when that happened. Interested to know what was going through his head.
It just feels like an old...
To be clear, when I say I feel sympathetic, Adam Rank is not included.
Not on the list there, yeah, I get that. Ryan, it just always feels like this happens when it's the Bears lining up for a field goal, though. There's certain teams that are just absolutely fucking cursed when it comes to field goals, and I think most of them just happen to be in the two of those teams happen to be in the NFC North, where it's like, oh, you need a game-winning field goal? Do you mean a game-losing field goal miss?
Talking about the Vikings?
Talking about the Vikings and the Bears.
Yeah.
They always seem to be, it's always the U2 in my office.
I didn't think that this was, I don't think this would have been premature, but if the Bears would have beat the Packers today, then I would have felt very good about writing off the Packers for the division.
Yeah. I mean, you should almost feel like the fact that the Bears screwed up shouldn't change that much. I mean, they get the win, right? Like that's ultimately all that matters. But can I stop everyone for a second and say that there is now a $52 donation train currently happening?
Heck yeah.
We have 4 in a row now. $52.06 from Das Gibbs says, "Asking you shall receive." Brandon T, $52.07, says $1 per point train. Let's get it going. Nap Dance Queen, $52, says I'll hop on the 52 for 52 train, but would love Jeremy to also write the score on his forehead. Yep, you got it. And then Anonymous, $52.52, says I'm open to suggestions. Great job, guys. I like our one game at a time approach.
Be true 927 in the chat. If you're saying that earnestly, no pun intended, that you had Dearness Johnson to have more rushing yards than David Montgomery in the fourth quarter, and that's how your parlay hit, that's devious stuff. Dearness Johnson had 3 rushing yards in this game.
Man. Can I ask a question to you, Ryan, and to Jeremy as
I'm
well?
gonna eat
about
bugs while you ask it, though. Okay.
About the league in general. About the league in general right now. Let me ask this, because I've heard some people talking about whether the league is like playing good ball or not. I'm not interested in that particular question, but we seem to be going through the parity versus dominance arguments again. I know like Mina Kimes and Bomani were like kind of going back and forth, or like Bomani was quoteers and whatever, but like this idea that parity isn't good or whatever. But I mean, as parity as it seems to be, like we're past the halfway point in the season, and by my count, how many 14 teams have less than 5 wins? Like I don't.
But isn't that half? Half of the teams are under 500.
Slightly less than half the teams are under 500. Yes, and I mean if I include the Colts, who are 5-6. Yes, so yeah, 15 of 32 teams are under 500.
Seems pretty normal to me.
But I guess I was like looking at how many have like just 3 or 2 wins. And was it the Cowboys, the Panthers, the Jets, the Patriots, the Browns, the Titans, the Raiders, the Giants, and the Jaguars? 9 teams only have 3 or fewer wins.
Hey, if you're talking about parity, don't look at the NFC West, because that's about as parity as it gets.
Oh my God.
3 teams at 5-5, and the Arizona Cardinals, who are on a bye this week, sitting at the top of the division at 6-4.
I'm planting my flag right now. The 49ers are not making the playoffs.
That's bold, Cotton.
Sure. Clip this. Hold me honest.
I mean, this was
spin a wheel
game
of
for
paint
them
on
to
me or
lose.
something. It was huge. Absolutely huge. Gino ran on him.
That's another $52.52 from Bob N. Says go Lions, FTP, because always FTP. And then another 52 that's about to show up on the stream as well from David Lunch says, let's fucking go. Looking forward to the Bills-Lions Super Bowl preview in a month. You might not be wrong. You know
what's a big game next week, though, for Chris?
What's that?
Packers
Colts.
49ers.
Oh, I thought you just meant against the Colts.
Oh, no. Not just that. But I was looking at Green Bay's upcoming schedule, because I was almost sure of it, that like if they lost today, I'd feel very comfortable about this becoming a 2-horse race.
Mm-hmm.
But they have 49ers, Dolphins on a short week. And
Dolphins look good today, right? Like they started
then the Lions.
around?
They beat the Raiders though.
Okay, that's a fair point. But like the offense looks better.
Yeah. It looks competent again. Let's just give him that.
Yeah. Another 52? Another 52 from Josh Q. Says go Lions, love this team. Y'all are crazy. I love you guys. And remember, if $50 donations, I'll write whatever you want on my head too. So any of you guys that are still in the chat that didn't redeem that other than Nap Dance Queen, feel free to.
I did not think Jordan Love looked good today. I saw him sailing a ball over the head of just a wide open short pass receiver and just like still looking like he's just putting too much on it. On the flip side, that game's in Lambeau, so I'm not sure how much I like the chances of the 49ers. I know they tend to do well there at various points.
Per attempt was nuts.
He was 13 of 17 for 261 yards.
How does he have that many yards?
Very carefully.
I didn't watch any of the games, so I couldn't tell you what he looked like.
But I just think right now, I can maybe pencil in 2 wins on the remaining schedule for the 49ers, and it's Bears and Rams.
I mean, Rams isn't a gimme for them.
I know. And
maybe
Rams. Maybe Rams.
The locker room celebration is already out. Do we want to take a break and watch that?
Absolutely.
All right,
sure.
Let's do that. It's a 3-minute video, so it's a long one. Let me share. This guy. Go to desktop so you guys can see it too. And then make sure I'm sharing my sound. Share computer sound. Full screen. You guys can see it, right?
Yeah, I'll just see if it's choppy for me, but that's fine.
You don't need to see me. All right, here we go.
Hey, that's a hell of a job, man. It's a hell of a job. I'm going to go back to what I said last night. Man, when you have talented football players, and they are made of the right kind of stuff. They are made of the right kind of stuff. And those guys come together. You have a collective willpower that you can make the game any way you want it to go. You can do that. That's exactly what you guys did. You came out after a rough game last week. We found a way to win, and we weren't having it today, man. You guys willed that game the way you wanted it, and we have that ability. Remember that. Remember that. That gets us to 9. I've got all kinds of notes, man. This thing turned into something. It's unbelievable. Here's the biggest thing, though. Offensively, man, we set a team record. 645 yards after kneel downs. 645 yards on offense, all right? And 38 first downs. Those are team records, gentlemen. Give those guys a hand, huh? So it goes without saying, everybody on offense is going to get a damn game ball, all right? Everybody. Now, inside of that, I just want to make this point. Our quarterback was 24-29, 412 yards, 4 touchdowns, a perfect quarterback rating, 158.3, all right, with 4 rushes for 21 yards.
Is that a Jared Goff pin on his back?
This guy had 11 receptions on a leg, 11 targets, 161 yards, 2 tugs, Mr. St. Brown. Defense gave up 170 yards. 170 yards. All right, 645 to 170. That's how you play ball, man, back at our house. It's outstanding. All right, I'm going to highlight these players here. 3 total tackles, 1 interception. Mr. Kirby. Get this man a ball. Get this man a ball.
Hey, man, I love this team, man. We put in the work for this, man. Hey, on to the next. I love y'all boys.
Man, he's kind of been a bell cow for us. He really had to take over today. All right, with what happened. This guy had 9 total tackles, 1 TFL, had a half sack, plays his ass off every week. Violent player, smart player, relentless Jack Campbell.
Did they only give Zadarius a half sack?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I appreciate every single person in this room. You've poured so much into me as an individual, and that's the only way I feel like each individual in this room works is everything you got, every single play, give it your all. This team's special, and I'm excited to keep going. So.
Yes. The sky is the limit, man. The sky's the limit. That's number 9. All right, we're about to hit the backstretch. We are close. We're about to hit the backstretch, and we're on to the Colts. All right, great win. Like it down.
Mr. Perfect.
Mr. Perfect, come on.
Mr. Perfect.
Hey. Great team win. On to the next. 1, 2, 3. Mr. Perfect.
Mr. Perfect. One more Mr. Perfect in there.
Yeah. I love these. I know some other teams are doing like super business one where the Chiefs are like in and out in 5 seconds. No, give me these.
Yeah.
I love that these become a national phenomenon too. Like Adam Schefter is retweeting these every morning. Like start your Monday with Dan Campbell in the locker room. Just like, okay,
yeah. I think the pin on Dan Campbell's back is for a veteran, Chris.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I think I caught that during the broadcast maybe, but it's funny enough that Dan Campbell's like 645 yards to 170, and I'm thinking like in my head, well, I remember a blowout where the Titans had 416 yards and the Lions had 225, and that game also ended up 52-14. So
True. Yardages and everything. But...
yardage doesn't tell the entire story, is what the 2024 Detroit Lions taught me.
While that clip was continuing to happen, two more $52 donations came in. $52.06 from Motown Roar. Says, let's not forget the 6 from the Jags. $52.06. Very nice. Very well done. Daniel Smith, $52.07. Says, Jeremy can draw Dan Campbell-style goatee on your face to match the stash. All right. Will do.
Done.
Absolutely. Might run out of marker, though. Oh, man. I hate taking showers this late.
This is going well.
Yeah.
This is going great.
You know what? I could suggest it. Have you tried dry erase markers? They work pretty well.
Yeah. That's not as fun, though. People get shocked when they realize I'm doing this in Sharpie.
Yeah, because they're like, that's toxic.
Yeah. That's never going to come off. That's pretty good.
Wow. It's not Dan Campbell, it's Evil Jeremy.
It is.
Mirror
I
Universe
need
Jeremy.
more I need a silver Sharpie to get a little salt and pepper in there.
It's actually throwing me off because it kind of looks realistic.
I have gone goatee once in my life. $52, 52 cents.
A lot of light beer too.
From Joe O says thanks for the POD. Thanks to PODD for the single game parlay magic from your podcast. You want to talk about that real quick? Do a little strut for the one thing we think we know segment that we all three of us hit on.
I don't think it's the one thing we think we know. It's the one thing that we did know.
We did know. And I think we all went relatively bold here. Do you remember the exact yardage total you said for Jared Goff?
I said 341 because I wanted him to get one more yard than he did against the Jaguars in 2022.
That's right. 341 is a pretty... do you know what the over-under was actually set at?
It was like I think it was like low 270s, which is a very high over-under. Yeah, but clearly blew that out of the water.
The one thing I thought I know was that the Lions would hold the Jaguars out of the end zone the entire game.
Yeah, which, my goodness, like that pregame, like Jaguars under 1.5 touchdowns was plus 115.
Oh, really?
And I watched half of that first quarter, and I thought, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, right.
And then Kirby Joseph was like the closest they got, right?
Yep.
And then they got that interception, Jeremy. So no touchdown there. And JP's was basically was it a touchdown for JMO and Gibbs?
Yeah, it was like a long receiving play, I think. I don't think there was anything specific, and you got one out of both, right? You got a JMO 60-ish yard touchdown, and you got a Jahmyr Gibbs 53 or something yard reception.
I think we said
should have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what I did where I think I know on Purview, and I'm pretty sure I said that this was going to be the game where JMO gets his deep pass threat back.
There you go.
So
God, when he catches a crossing route, it's just like it's the most exciting thing in football because like 9 times out of 10 he's going to turn the corner and score.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trent Green had a lot of dumb stuff to say on the broadcast.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, normally a fan of Trent Green, but just some like weird are you saying the same game that I'm saying right now kind of thing?
That's interesting.
Kevin Harlan's great though, right? Complaining about it. Yeah.
Kevin Harlan's great.
I loved his line. I loved his line on JMO's catch. I love the he grabs and 6 for 9.
That's a good one.
9 for 6? He said 6 for 9. Oh, I guess it works both ways.
Yeah. 6
it's
for
just more,
no,
it's
6
more
points
fun
for 9.
Yeah.
And it's a 69 joke.
I get that.
Nice.
Another $52.06, 52 to 6, from Jason Archibald. Thank you so much, Jason. How many is that now?
A lot.
I can't believe that worked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of you. $52 donations.
Man.
Now we're only $427 ish away from another spin on the Wheel of Pain.
We didn't even talk about the JMO Selly. Like, I mean, there were a lot of really good celebrations in this game.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
That's why-
if you're into anime, hey, was it Gibbs and who else? It was Gibbs and who else hit a Kamehameha
Well,
on?
I think it was both running backs.
Brown.
Yeah, I think
Was
it was
it?
both running backs.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had JMO with the Beastquake celebration.
Yep. Yeah, the
The whole
Pee Wee Herman tequila dance.
that was really good.
And then I swear
It was so subtle too. It was
Yeah.
so subtle.
it was so. Yeah, he did seek out the camera, but like not. It didn't seem like a boisterous celebration necessarily. There was another one, and I don't know if any. I was looking down after they scored and like typing or something, and then I look up and like it was almost like the grenade celebration where like I look up and there's like 7 players on the ground in the end zone, and the crowd like made a noise, and I don't know if I assume they never showed a replay of it because I haven't seen it.
Was it for a touchdown?
Yeah.
Because it cut away from after Kirby's interception.
Oh,
like
it might have been after that.
they all gathered in the end zone
You know
for
what?
that too, and it
might
cut
have been
away.
that.
Yeah.
It was a bowling strike, someone in the chat
Oh,
says.
okay. Was that after the Kirby interception? It may have been because it was in that end zone.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I will also say, you mentioned the crowd. The crowd got the wave going before
Yeah.
starters were pulled. No, but
But
it
they-
was
they
like
did it during an
all
injury,
all
though.
3 decks.
It was like, don't do it when the guy's
Yeah.
injured.
There were a lot of defensive
Yeah,
back
this-
injuries for the Jaguars where they were like running into Amon-Ra St. Brown and he's like, I'm rubber. and
Gabe
you're
Davis
not?
Gabe Davis went down, I think.
Yeah, he went.
it was a non-contact, yeah.
Yeah, that
Not
was
good.
rough.
It was a fun game. Fun
Second
game.
segment? Question
Yeah.
mark?
I think.
Yeah, I think we
do
can
that.
just. I mean, we did 25 minutes there. We can just do a second segment and be out of it.
I like it.
Especially since I have one more straight day of work, and I kind of want to take care of myself and also watch this game tonight.
Before we get into it, Scott E. $52 donation says, how much to get Jeremy to sport the goatee with the massive shoulder pads into a Dan Campbell press conference? 0% chance.
Zero.
Unless I get the Lions' approval ahead of time, which I would never even ask. That's the weirdest thing to ask them. I would not do that.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. The Lions PR team, super cool. I'm not going to do anything to risk my professional career outside of like doing these streams. Like I'll do whatever silly shit you guys want me to do now. Once I'm in the Lions facility, kind of got to cut that out.
That seems fair.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Let's get back into the show. If you guys want to continue with the $52 donations, you can. We'll catch up to them after we're done with the segment.
That's right. We're gonna talk here, actually. So we gotta talk Anzalone. I'm trying to think of some other stuff to talk. Anything you guys want to hit on?
I think maybe like the NFC race in general, since it's still very
Okay.
tight. But I think we can still touch on. I don't know. Are there any individual performances you guys want to touch on before we get to Anzalone? I feel like wrapping up what happened, then going to Anzalone, then kind of bigger picture what's going on in the NFC. I think is a good attack plan.
Yeah, I think we hit a lot of performances, especially on the
Yeah, I guess we kind of
on
did.
the offense.
I think lost in all of it. What about Carlton Davis? You want to talk about that too?
Let's talk some DBs, yeah, because I want to talk some Kirby as well.
Okay.
So Anzalone, DBs, NFC North. Okay. Or just NFC race. Okay. Welcome back to the Pride of Detroit POD cast. There was one significant injury in this, and unfortunately, it feels like there's a blowout, and there seems to be a grievous injury that the Lions always have to worry about. This wasn't because of any starters being left in, but Alex Anzalone did go down in I believe the end of the second quarter.
Yep.
And I don't know. Didn't want to lip read too much, but a lot of people were running with that. It seemed like he had said something like he broke his arm. You find out from Dan Campbell later on that it is indeed a forearm injury for the linebacker and expected out 6 to 8 weeks, which puts him in line to come back probably in time for the playoffs. But losing Anzalone, Jeremy, is a another big defensive blow for the Detroit Lions. He has been tremendously productive for the first half of the season. He is obviously a big leader for the Detroit Lions. And as always, it's at a place where the Lions are a bit thin and really need performance at the linebacker core.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, that front seven has really been beat up all season, not just the start. I mean, you want to start with the starters. You got Marcus Davenport, you got Aiden Hutchinson, you got Derek Barnes, now you have Alex Anzalone. Those are 4 key players in that front seven starters. And then you can dig deeper, right? Like now you just got back Malcolm Rodriguez, you're out Jalen Reeves-Maben for 2 more games, you're out John Kaminsky, you're out a couple other guys on the defensive line in terms of the depth and starters, and it sucks. It's frustrating. But on the other side, it's like we went into the season bragging about how deep that linebacker room is. And yes, it's going to be tested now, but how many other teams are going to go through 3 linebacker injuries and say, hey, at least we got 2 starters still. At least we still got Jack Campbell. At least we still got Malcolm Rodriguez, and Jack Campbell is playing fantastic. We just watched the halftime video or the post game video in the locker room, and Jack Campbell got a game ball, because he's starting to play really well. It picks up a half sack in this game, so he's already been playing 100% of snaps. He's going to continue to play 100% of snaps, and now with Malcolm back, I think he probably steps in Alex Anzalone's position, and then you decide whether you want to put a third linebacker out there. You have a couple options. Nowaski's been playing the Sam. You could keep that going. We saw a little bit of Ben Neiman in this game. You'll get probably Jalen Reeves-Maben back in maybe 2 games, hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe a little bit more. But I think what you said is the most important, and that's that Alex Anzalone should be back for the playoffs. And as much as we are going to invest in trying to get the number 1 seed over the next 8 weeks, as much as you want them to win the division and lock up home field advantage for the rest of the playoffs and maybe a bye week, ultimately what's important is this team winning in the playoffs. That's the only thing that really matters for the rest of the season. And yes, it'd be nice to have an easier course, but do any of you have any qualms about the Lions winning on the road? They can win in the rain. They can win in crappy weather. So, if this, I'm not saying it will, but if this costs them a game or 2, not having Anzalone along with the defensive starters, and they lose out on the 1 seed, they maybe even lose out on the division, I'm still going into the playoffs with a healthy Anzalone and the rest of the crew, confident that this team could make a Super Bowl run.
Yeah, and the one other name, too, that I would throw out there, Jeremy, not necessarily a linebacker, but Fatu Melifonwu, you can do some pretty interesting things with him and use that as an opportunity to disguise some stuff you want to do on offense. But, yeah, it'll be a blow that they'll have to weather the storm. I do think, though, getting the 1 seed is so important for this football team. I think getting that bye is so important for a team that had a bye as early as they did in the season. So it's going to be the fine line, but I expect them and I trust them, and I hate to kind of sit behind, full faith of what this organization is going to do, but they've kind of earned the right to be all the way back to Hard Knocks, Chris, where Dan Campbell was saying, you just got to trust me. His you got to trust me speech, and he has a plan in mind, and they'll go out and execute it.
Yeah. And I mean, even what we talked about earlier in the podcast, right? That this is a team that does not slow down. It doesn't know what it means to take it easy on these things. This is how they play football. So even without Anzalone for the rest of the regular season, they're going to try to go after there, even if it means risk, every game of football is a risk of injury, unfortunately, at the end of the day. The good news is, because of Rodriguez missing some time, it does mean you've got at least a few linebackers down the depth chart who have seen some playing time, especially Trevor Nowaski.
Sure.
So, it's a different position to throw someone like Trevor into, or to try Ben. But you've got, as Jeremy said, you've got Jack Campbell, who's playing incredibly well. You've got Malcolm Rodriguez back. Like, it's still in a good position. It's still in a good position. I feel like the pressure that Anzalone brings will be dearly missed, but we're starting to also see Zadarius Smith getting up to speed as well. So this kind of turned into a game where you traded pressure from your linebackers for having someone who can set the edge.
Yeah. And you're getting not only Iffy back, you might be getting Emmanuel Mosley back. You might get being Broderick Martin back. Like there are ways that they can figure this out, put 11 guys on the field that might be different than what it's looked like through 10 games, but maybe you play nickel more. Maybe Emmanuel Mosley's part of that plan. Maybe, Ennis Rakestraw is part of that plan. Maybe you play 3 safeties, like you mentioned, with Ifeatu Melifonwu basically working as a third linebacker because he has a lot of the skills that you need for a good linebacker, right? He can blitz, he can play run defense, and he can cover. And they're going to have options.
And that has been, we give a lot of credit to Ben Johnson. And I know we've touched on Aaron Glenn before, but the praise Aaron Glenn's getting right now, again, I just saw the number of teams that have held other teams to 1 touchdown or fewer. And I believe like it's the Detroit Lions and like 2 teams from the 80s. And then you have to go way, way, way back. Like the defense is playing out of its mind as well. And Aaron Glenn has shown with all of these injuries, very versatile flexibility. Like last year, this team was all about the safety blitz, and they're not doing that this year because they don't need to do that this year. Like he has shown incredible versatility on how he's scheming this up. So I don't think being down Anzalone is going to boldly impact his defensive coverages or his pass rush.
The Lions are 5-0 since Aiden Hutchinson's injury. Like this team can survive injuries to key players. They can. I mean, Sam Laporta didn't play in this game and the offense didn't skip a beat. Aiden Hutchinson's been gone forever, and the Lions have blown out a couple teams since he's been gone. It's obviously like there's a cumulative effect when it continues to happen and continues to happen and continues to happen. But like we're highlighting here, they're getting some of their guys back too. They're getting talented players back from IR in the next couple weeks here in a way that is going to insulate them from injuries again. Hopefully, we don't really have a ton of information on Jalen Reed's Maven injury, but it never seemed like it was severe, and he's still hanging out in the locker room. So I imagine he's back in a couple weeks, and so they're going to be okay. And again, getting Anzalone back for a playoff push is the most important part because he is a leader. He is. I mean, this injury would have hurt a lot more in 2021 when he was like the veteran who knew the scheme and helping everybody around him. But the Lions have grown since then. They have guys that can carry that load. I mean, Jack Campbell, I think, is a guy that can kind of carry that load and be a little bit of a leader now. He knows the defense certainly well enough now in year 2 here. So I don't want to downplay losing a captain on defense. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt particularly since they've lost so many guys in that front 7. But I think the Lions have the horses to really be okay in the long run here.
Yeah. 2 things to that. One, really sad. Can the Jags just leave Anthony Pittman in town? Khalif Raymond fielded a punt and they both had a little like moment of like, hey guy, like nice to see you again. And I was like, it was after Anzalone's injury, and I was like, "Can he just stay?" Like they elevated him, I think. So like maybe I don't know, some practice squad deadline, poaching. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
maybe.
Put in a waiver claim.
Yeah, but so the one thing I do want to say though about Aaron Glenn and the defense that I've noticed and then digging into some statistics before this game for the 5 questions article that I write, that Big Cat Country, they asked me about like, how has the defense changed since Aiden Hutchinson's injury? And in weeks 1 through 6, the Lions blitz rate was 30.3%. The league average is 28.9. So hovering just a little bit above league average. But since his injury, the Lions have the highest blitz rate in the league at 40.5%. So, I mean, the question was essentially, does Zadarius Smith change that? It'll be interesting to see some of the numbers that come out of this in terms of their blitz rate. But with Anzalone, that's a guy that they really like to blitz. They'll bring him on like delayed pressures and things like that. So that kind of remains to be seen how they navigate those waters. But I think the interesting thing that comes out of all of this is that you have different looks now that you can throw at teams. You have a bunch of tape at the beginning of the season of how this defense looked. A lot of those guys aren't on the field anymore.
Right. And you're constantly evolving.
You're getting a Fatu Melifonwu, you're getting Emmanuel Mosley, maybe you're getting maybe John Kaminsky at some point. You're getting all these opportunities to throw different looks at offensive coordinators now. But I guess another injury question too, Jeremy, because I didn't see too much on it. But Carlton Davis, there was a lot of Kendall Vildor.
Yeah.
He came in relief of Carlton Davis, and we know that he suffered a thumb injury in practice this week. So
yeah, so he had a broken thumb. He broke his thumb in practice on Thursday, wearing a kind of splint cast, weird looking thing that almost looked like he was wearing oversized gloves. But I think Dave Burkett asked the Lions when he stopped playing in the second half, like, is this an injury? And the Lions were like, no, he's available. But we're just like, hey, you're dealing with a broken thumb. How about you just chill for the last quarter and a half?
That's management that you can actually do on pulling some starters. Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, might as well get guys like Kendall Vildor out there and take some snaps.
Absolutely.
If you can get Ennis Rakestraw out there, like, get those reps so those guys are fresh in case you do really need them down the stretch.
Brandon Joseph, my goodness, the hit that he put on Brian
God.
Thomas.
Yeah,
Poor guy. I almost wanted to give him the catch. I know he bobbled it and it wasn't a catch, but like I wanted to give the guy a catch.
yeah. I mean, you want to talk about like the one time I think maybe the Lions crossed the line a little bit was challenging that play, but it's I mean if he's asking the players to go out there and give 100% of the time, like
you got to do it too.
Yeah,
you got to have their back. Yeah,
that's right. All right, let's shift our attention to the NFC picture.
Yeah,
and not just in the NFC, but the
hey,
Lions.
Can I say one last thing?
Yeah. What's up?
I want to say one last thing about Ben Johnson, and you want to talk at the very beginning about how this team is going to unapologetically be themselves. Ben Johnson throws that wheel route to Jahmyr Gibbs and immediately gives him the football again on the very next play, and then gives him the ball again on the very next play. He did the same thing to Dave Montgomery against the Seattle Seahawks. Ben Johnson does not care how many yards you ran either on the box score or actually on the field, because that was a 70-something yard run from Jahmyr Gibbs after that catch. And he said, you're getting the ball again on this very next running play. And I'm like, give the guy a break. Can we have him in pass protection? Can you put him on a nothing route? Like, for goodness sakes. But
that's what you get when we put in David Montgomery on some of these drives. It means when you're in there, you are in there. You are in there.
No breaks.
All gas, no breaks. Looking at the NFC picture and really the NFL picture, because the Lions, with the fall off of the Chiefs, stand atop the National Football League with a whopping plus 159 point differential.
Nutty.
And the next closest team is 106 from your Buffalo Bills. So the Lions have halved them up again.
The closest team in the NFC, I believe, are the Eagles, which are at half of essentially what the Lions are at.
Plus 80, yes.
Yeah, the Lions are 159. They're plus 80.
Yeah. And if we look in the NFC, that is, I think, the next closest threat to the Detroit Lions is the Philadelphia Eagles, who have come on to 8-2. They've been shaking off a lot of rust, but I thought they looked very good against a Washington team that has maybe outkicked the coverage a little bit for what they are. Their defense has never really been good, was never really considered to be good going into the year, and I think they've kind of played beyond that. I know some people out there keep wondering if a Kingsbury offense can handle the second half of a season, and now they're on a 2-game skid. But the NFC picture is that. It is the Detroit Lions, it is the Philadelphia Eagles, and then it is all NFC North after that. It is Vikings, Packers, and then Commanders as your top teams. The Commanders, the last calendar week, have kind of fallen off, taken 2 brutal losses. The Eagles have been on the come. The Packers absolutely should have lost today, but fortunately for them, unfortunately for the rest of us, they put the Bears in a position that they knew they would win, which is asking them to kick a game-winning field goal. So they managed to escape, and the Vikings...
I'm just now realizing that was almost another Lions hangover game. And they had a bye week in between, but that would have been a residual Lions
residual.
Yeah.
And the Vikings beat up on the hapless Titans, but still don't really look like...
It was not a clear
Sam
win.
Darnold has some spin moves, but yeah.
Vikings, and I believe Will Levis threw a 98-yard touchdown in that game.
He did.
I would say that the Vikings don't look great. The Packers don't look great. The Eagles are on a 6-game winning streak, so it's hard for me to say that they don't look great, especially when they take down a red-hot Commanders team. It sucks to me that, like, both the Vikings and the Packers are just, like, escaping right now with these victories, these close victories that they probably shouldn't have. Like, you could very much argue that the Vikings should have lost last week against the Jaguars. Certainly argue that the Packers should have lost this week. It's frustrating that the Lions have to be perfect, basically, right? Like, from here until the end. Eric and I were talking about, like, they probably have to be 14-3
They
to get
almost
the
lost
1
the
seed.
Jaguars before the Lions too. The Packers did.
The Packers almost lost to the Jaguars too.
They almost lost to the Jaguars. They almost lost to the Texans. They've been escaping a few games here.
Yeah. That's but, like, when is it actually going to catch up to them? When are they actually going to lose some of these games? I mean, maybe just the Lions need to take care of them, right? If the Lions beat the Vikings, they beat the Packers. I mean, they're almost certainly going to win the division just by winning those 2 games on their own. But if they want
home games,
yeah, they're 2 home games, yes. And I don't know. I mean, like, listen, who knows what happens in the next few weeks? If the Lions take care of their business against the Colts and the Bears next week, they're already at 11 wins, which is insane to even think about with 5 weeks left after that. But I don't know. Like, I don't know. To me, it's just the Lions are playing so good. They're so clearly the best team in the NFC, maybe the best team in the NFL, to a point where, like, I just want them to have a bigger lead right now. I feel like they should have a bigger lead right now, but all it could take is one slip up and the Eagles are right there.
Well, I look at it this way: like the Vikings are about to play 2 division leaders right now in the Falcons and Cardinals, after with the Bears bookending it. Like, there's going to be chances for these teams to slip up. For the Detroit Lions, like, their hardest part is right now, Ryan, is they've got to play 3 games in 10 days. The Colts basically is the gunshot to start the sprint pretty much here. And just, you have to slam through 2 divisional rivals and a road game against the Indianapolis Colts here. 10 days. And you got to make sure you're going to come out on the other side still healthy, still fresh, and still ready to make that December push.
Yeah, the Colts is, I think, as far as keeping your team focused and keeping your team on track, I think that's a game that you circle and say you want to walk out of Indy with a win, because for 3 straight weeks you're going to be at home. Bears, Packers, then you have your biggest non-conference test when the Bills come to town for a big game in the middle of December. But the Lions are the best team in the NFC, bar none. Right? Like, I don't even care how things shake out after January 5th. I don't care what the records say at the end of January 5th. If this team is still doing the things for the most part that they have been doing for the first 11 weeks of the season, then they're still the best football team in the NFC, regardless of what the record says. I do think it's very important, though, that they push for the number 1 seed and they push for that bye week because they had such an early bye. I don't think that there's a better football team, though, that will finish with less losses than them. The Philadelphia Eagles. Guys, we're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles that, yeah, they've won 6 games in a row, but they beat the Browns with Deshaun Watson. They beat the New York Giants, and I know it's the teams that are across from you, right? They barely squeaked out a game against these same Jacksonville Jaguars, 28-23. Yeah, they beat up on the Cowboys, right? The games that they've lost, they lost to the Falcons. They got spanked by the Buccaneers, a team that they don't have any answers for. They have 2 very big games coming up. They play
3 really in the next 4.
Well, they play at Los Angeles next week.
Football.
And they have a road game against a Ravens team that has to do some winning themselves to make sure that they don't slip up and lose their grip on the AFC North. They have some tough games. I mean, they still have to play the Commanders again.
They got the Steelers. They have to play the Ravens and the Steelers. Both those teams, like you said, they're battling for the AFC North.
And you want to talk about what the Packers are going to have to deal with next week. It's the 49ers. who dropped to 5-5, and they
very desperate team right now.
They have to stack. I don't think there's more than a couple wins left on the 49ers schedule unless they can pull out their magic and really put their ass back together against the 49ers on the road. And then right after that, they have to go play the Dolphins, who I'm not going to say the Dolphins look hot, but they definitely look, Ryan, like they have a good offense back together. It looks like they can score on you.
Right. Like they have Tua back. They're going to be a team that they're going to try their darndest to try to push for a final playoff spot in the AFC. The Packers still have to play the Vikings. They have to go on the road and play the Vikings. That's a huge game where you're going to pick up some space between those teams. But
and another desperate team in the Seahawks later on in the season as well.
I mean that NFC West is going to remain competitive almost certainly until week 18. So they're going to be in the thick of it right there. So if you're playing the Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks, 49ers, like all four of those teams,
teams.
Yeah, they're all going to be fighting. Yeah, the NFC South too, right? That's still a really tight division as well. Everyone but the Panthers are probably in it.
I'm trying to. I think the Vikings still play the Falcons, right? Like Chris just talked about that, playing the Cardinals and the Falcons. Like those are.
It's not easy for really anybody in the NFC unless, does anyone in the NFC have a easiest record? I feel like Washington has the easiest remaining schedule of the group, but the Lions got 3 games on them right now, so I'm not really concerned about them.
Yeah, the Washington's going to, now that they've hit the 2 hardest games of their schedule, they get Cowboys, Titans, Saints. They got to play the Eagles again. They got to play the Falcons again, and then they get the Cowboys for a second time.
Hey, man, those Saints aren't no joke. Ask the Cleveland Browns how they feel about 7 carries for 135 yards and 3 touchdowns from Taysom Hill. 7 carries, 135 yards, 3 touchdowns. Taysom Hill.
I don't even know what kind of player do you call Taysom Hill? I know he was drafted as a quarterback and he lines up a lot at tight end, but like he's just a football player.
Athlete.
They use him in the weirdest possible ways, and they give him so much money. It's magical, really, if you think about it.
I want to know what Dan Campbell feels about Taysom Hill. He's got to have some interesting Taysom Hill
thoughts.
stuff.
I mean, he probably worked with Taysom Hill quite a while, so yeah, I'm curious too.
One day, when we meet them in the NFC Championship game this year, on
the
one of the most miraculous comes back.
Yeah, the Saints are going to come back 2 games down on the. No. We can't do it right
now. The NFC South. The Buccaneers are the best team in that conference or in that division by far.
They were
they are so banged up. They are so banged up. Like as bad as I know the Lions injuries are right now, it's so much worse for the Buccaneers.
And they got swept by the Falcons, Ryan.
Yes, they got swept by 2 losses in division.
One of those games was on a Thursday, and Kirk Cousins threw for 500 yards, so that game isn't real. Okay. And then the other game they lost by 5. They were banged up and they were down guys because the Ravens game was when they lost Chris Godwin for the rest of the regular season. Right?
I will not stand for Kadarrell Hodge erasure. All right.
Well, this is a key for the Falcons. They also have a win over the Saints. They split with the Saints, so like. That's 3 right there for them.
Their next 3 games at Giants, at Panthers versus Raiders. The Bucs can get back. They can get back on schedule.
That's a fair point.
I would hope so. I would like. So I guess the answer is no one. The Lions fear. I mean, I fear probably most Philadelphia. We talked about it last week. I forget if it was on stream, but Philadelphia is the one team that's probably set up to challenge and beat the Detroit Lions and how they play football. But I can tell you this, like, I don't know how to do this every week, going back and forth on whether or not Sirianni is a good coach or not. And it just feels like they always have these slow starts to games.
Sirianni could get fired at the end of this year.
It felt like he was going to get fired when they were 2-2.
I think they could make the Super Bowl and he would still get fired.
That noise was because we said Sirianni. And my phone thought it was
hold on 1 second. Hey Sirianni, how'd that treat you guys at home?
We're still live. Why are you doing this?
I have headphones on, Jeremy.
No, he's doing it to all our listeners.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Jerk. Stutz. All right.
Hey Siri, Ani, order Lions Super Bowl tickets.
Hey Siri, Ani, what's the weather? No, that's bad. I'm not as good at this as you guys. All right. Final thoughts from this game. Like you can clearly tell we've kind of run out of things to talk about, and like the blowouts are fun, but
The Jaguars are bad. The Lions offense is back.
if you are listening to this on a Tuesday, I believe Doug Peterson has probably been fired. At me if he's not. At Perfett on Blue Sky. Jeremy?
I got no closing thoughts. You can just read my closing thoughts on my forehead unless you're listening on a podcast. It says 52 to 6 on my
52 and
forehead.
6. That is a good reminder. We are still in our charity drive for Movember for the Men's Cancer Research Fund at the University of Michigan Rogel Center. I believe we are up to over 15,000 now. If you want to check our YouTube page, you can go find the Hot Ones stream we did on Saturday. Thanks to Alex Reno, who dug out the other two sauces we were missing for Da Bomb and The Last Dab. And I, while coming down from a migraine, could think of nothing better to sit around and deal with technical issues while Jerry, Al, and Morgan and Alex all literally died from Da Bomb. It was not
ghost.
pleasant. I saw men in despair that night. I saw men not crying, but they looked like the shelled Vietnam veteran. It was not good.
Do not recommend.
Oh my God. Anyway, that'll do it for us. At Detroit Online for Jeremy, at Ryan POD for Ryan, and myself at Chris Perfett and Perfett on Blue Sky. This has been really fun. Let's do this again. We'll see you Starside.
Recording stopped.
All right.
All right, folks.
Groovy.
As Chris alluded to, we are up to $15,725.93 donated to the Rogel Cancer Center. In that segment, we had a $100 donation from an anonymous donator, which has gotten us now $275, really $274 away from another spin on the Wheel of Pain. I already owe you one spin of the Wheel of Pain. I also owe you the Sprite Challenge, which we'll do sometime soon.
Oh, man.
And then Sleepy Twigs, thank you for the follow on Twitch.
Can I ask you for the Sprite Challenge? Could I do it with Sprite Zero?
If it has carbonation, I think it's okay.
Okay. I just don't want to push the blood pressure too much.
That's fair. Be True says that Ryan sent you the parlay hit. Take a peek at Pure Degeneracy. Is that your buddy?
I don't know. The Pistons are 5th in the Eastern Conference, though.
Are they at 500 yet?
So I used to dread
7 and 8.
I used to dread the nights where the Pistons actually won, because last year on the nights the Pistons won, it meant the Detroit Lions would lose. Now the Pistons and Lions, they're in harmony again.
I was saying this to my buddy, and I know context matters, but I think it's really funny because a lot of people are like starting to get kind of high on the Pistons. The Pistons are playing at least entertaining basketball now, and they're 7 and 8, and the Red Wings are 7 and 9, and it was like, that's a trash team. They're terrible. Fire eyes.
Yeah. This is the "Oh, you're so sweet. Hello, human resources" meme. Yeah.
Oh my God, Be True. This is insane.
Did he hit?
Oh yeah, he hit. It was a $7 bet. It was a $7 bet. I have to count the legs, but it was a $7 bet to win $1,784.
Oh my God.
Wow. Hey, sorry, I accidentally pinned. By the way, in our chat right now is Corn Doggy LOL, who made the Lions, that cute Lions Jacksonville Jaguars graphic. Hey, hi, Corn Doggy.
Are you okay if we add that to our chat, our Twitch chat?
Yeah,
as an avatar.
I think I clipped it out because I want to use it for our Discord. I love that stuff, and I immediately had to throw him a follow on Twitter. That is like,
I want
that is
to add 3 things. I want to
fantastic
add that really cute line that Corn Doggy is throwing in the chat.
go Lions, he says.
I want to add just Amon-Ra as a 1, an upside down 1. And then what was the one that you suggested, Chris? I thought that was a good idea.
Oh, Brian Branch Double Birds.
Ah, yes, the Branch Double Birds. I would like to add all 3 of those. Oh, that'd be great, Corn Doggy. Appreciate that.
Wow, the original stuff.
I just sent you Brandon's parlay. It was 13 legs, and it's a video.
Oh my god!
And it includes things like Mac Jones to record less than 23 rushing yards, Travis Etienne to record less than 81 rushing yards.
Be true. Do we have your permission to put this on screen? I don't want to do anything without your permission here. And
just random stuff in here. Be true. Jameson Williams to record more receiving yards than Gabe Davis in the game. David Montgomery to record more rushing yards than Travis Etienne in the first quarter. Jahmyr Gibbs to record more rushing and receiving yards than Travis Etienne in the second quarter.
All right,
this is wild.
Let's show the people.
I can't believe this.
The odds are plus 25,395.
I want people out there to know if you try to do this yourself, you're not going to hit on shit. Like, this is a lottery ticket. Be true. Good for you.
Well, it depends. Are the Lions playing the Jags?
Let's see how close each leg was. So Mac Jones, 23 rushing yards. He only had 7. ETN less than 81. That one hit easily. He had 27. Montgomery more than equals 67 rushing yards. That seems like a pretty risky one. He had 75, so that was pretty close.
Yep.
Gibbs, 68. He had
pairing
69.
Those two together. Also, just pairing those two together is like hyper risky. Like, I could only see one going off, but not the other. But you're asking for both to go off? Okay.
Gibbs, I was sweating. Yeah. Dearness Johnson, 34. He had 3. Gibbs, 6 receiving yards. He only had 1 catch, right? Did he only have that 1 catch? Yeah.
Yeah, 1 catch.
But it went for 54.
4, yeah.
Lions scored more than 30 points. Yeah, that one was easy.
That was before half. Or no, just after half.
Yeah. J-Mo over Gabe Davis, but, Gabe Davis also, like, leaving the game, and also, Mac Jones.
And Gabe Davis had 3 yards.
1 catch, 3 yards compared to 124 yards from J-Mo. Montgomery to record more rushing yards than Travis Etienne in the first quarter. Let me see if I can have the first quarter stats real quick. Yeah, I got that. So Monty had 21, Etienne had 4.
Easy peasy.
Oh, fourth quarter.
And Jahmyr Gibbs again. You are stacking both at the same time.
Oh, in the second quarter. Okay, so what was? Gibbs
in the second quarter? Excuse me.
So Gibbs had 30 in the second quarter. ETN had 8. In the fourth quarter, which you wanted more Montgomery yard. No, Ernest Johnson more than Montgomery. What? Jesus. That hit? Montgomery wasn't in the game anymore. He didn't. Montgomery did not have a carry. Dearness Johnson had 1 carry for 3 yards. That is an insane one. Is that why you bet it? Why would you even make that bet? Why would that be part of it, be true?
Why would you put all of these together and say
you put it because you thought they were going to rush?
Are you from the future?
That is insane.
How much of this money have you donated to the Rogel Cancer Center? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, listen, that's
$7 to 17.
You won it fair square.
It's like $1,800. Jesus Christ.
And then Gibbs and Montgomery each to score a touchdown, which, yes, they had 3 in between them.
Had that down in the first half. Nice.
This fourth quarter one is the most insane.
Just an insane, wild, random thing to pick.
Stupid. Absolutely stupid. Just
That's
stupid.
Great.
They're so good.
Good stuff.
That's something, though.
I feel like, but Jeremy, you said this too, like everybody and their mother hit on their parlays in Detroit this week because their offense had 645 yards.
One of the fun things we get at Fox is we have our gambling shows in the morning, and we always have on each day of the weekend, a bookmaker from either BetMGM or from somewhere else. And listening to the guy this morning, he was like, we can't write a ticket for the Jaguars. We can't write a single goddamn ticket. Everyone's on the Lions.
Yeah.
We're about to take the biggest drubbing of our life. You cannot get anyone to take money on the Jaguars.
That's why when I was writing Pride of Detroit Direct this weekend, because I didn't want to just write the Lions are going to clobber the Jaguars, I was like, all right, let's try to figure out all the ways that the Jaguars could actually win this game. None of that included their offense doing anything. Like, the only thing I was like, maybe if Carlton Davis doesn't play, they just like absolutely target Terrion Arnold and just go Brian Thomas all game. That's like the only thing that I can see them be successful at. But like that also requires Mac Jones to be good, and he's not.
Jared Goff. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm done.
Sorry. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Go. You're good.
No. Jared Goff would have had to be kidnapped by the Riddler. That's what I believe.
So I know it got up to -14 in some spots, but that was the line that I read, was that if the spread closes at -14, I don't know if it closed there. It was at -13.5 in a lot of spots, but
yeah.
if it was -14, it would have been the biggest spread for the Lions since 1977, when they played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were in their second year as a team and they hadn't won a game yet in their franchise's history. So
double-digit spreads more than 10 scare the hell out of me. Like, this is why I can't gamble like college football, because they regularly this is a -21 point line for Ohio State. And I'm like, I can't trust any of that. I genuinely cannot. And to see it starting to creep its way into the NFL, not often, mind you, not often.
Just with this team.
But I don't know if 14 was like, 14's on the very high end, Ryan. But even then, I feel like that was too low, and like too low to. It was definitely too low to ward off money on the Lions. I don't know how high you would have had to set this line to start seeing action on the Jaguars.
The good folks over at the football, what is it? Justin's Detroit Football Network podcast. They kind of played this game with a couple of these. Like, how many points would I have to give you to pick the other team? And I can tell you, no one came close to saying 46. By the way, Lions 7.5 point favorites next week, so not double digits.
On the road.
On the
7.5 point favorites on the road. That might as well be double digits.
On a Colts team on a 1-game winning streak too.
With AR.
With a team who now believes in Anthony Richardson.
One of the dumbest benchings I've seen out there. Like,
I can't believe how quickly they put the toothpaste back in the tube.
I was talking to my friend about this, about what is a good owner in the NFL, and we both agree there's like because we were talking about Virginia Woolf and the Chicago Bears and how they won't fire Matt Eberflus. And we're talking about the sweet spot zone that like Sheila Hamp is in, where it's like, you care, you do your homework on football, but ultimately for football decisions, your hands are off and you trust your guys to do it.
Yeah.
And on the one pitfall on one side is the Virginia Wolves and the Mara families of the world. And on the other side is Jerry Jones and Jim Irsay. And this whole thing going to Flacco suddenly and then trying to go back to Anthony Richardson after you basically declared him what you did, like this screams of the pill popper.
Did you see Michael David Smith is he still with Pro Football Talk?
I think so.
Yeah. The Lions outgained the Jags by 475 yards. Is the biggest yardage differential in an NFL game since 1979.
Let me get Ruby up here. I know the people want Ruby. Hey, boo-boo. Hey, boo-boo. Hey, boo-boo. Can I pick you up? Is that okay? Can I pick you up?
Jill, how will the Jack Fox milestone work if it's reached? So I talked to the Lions and I talked to Jack Fox, and they both agreed to participate. Yeah. Basically, what we would do is film from the Lions facility. And maybe, I was told this is, I didn't even ask for this, but I was told from the Lions PR team that they could maybe, I would live stream probably from my phone or something like that. They said that they could bring in their, like, the One Pride production crew as well and like make an entire video out of it, which would be super cool.
Putting the people to work, and you're not the one calling the shots. Look at that. Look at the pull that Jeremy Reisman, noted guy who is in the room.
That's right. So yeah, that'd be cool. I think it would happen sometime in December, obviously, because I want to do it one while they're still in the building, two maybe not while they're doing a playoff push. But this, I think we came up with this idea because one, it is the like smallest chance of a player getting injured while me interacting with them. Like if I was like guarding Jameson Williams on a play and like he pulls a hammy, like
what is this project?
It's going to look terrible. The Jack Fox goal that I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
that we reached.
So yeah, we have different Core Doggy. So we have different our charity month. We have different markers. If we raise X amount of money, we do something awful, or something just insane happens. We've been paying off last year's, which included a Hot Ones stream that we had last night, and I believe that what number was that you're setting up?
So that's at 25,000. Every 5,000 that we reach is a new milestone that we unlock, so to speak.
We hit the Sprite No Burping challenge. Yeah.
Yes. At 20,000, we're going to do streams where we just watch highlights of classic games and talk about them. Some of them are probably going to be painful games, maybe. I think we want to play both sides of the coin. The reason we did it is like Ryan and I were just. What game? Do you remember what game it was, Ryan? When we were having ramen and we're just like, "Hey, remember this game? Let's watch it."
Yeah, it was Lions Saints from 2017, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like a 50 to 42 game.
52 to 38.
Was that the game Ryan got drunk in Punta Cana?
No, that was 2016.
That was the Saints in 2016. Okay.
Yeah. The Lions lost that game, but like. They almost like it was like a 28-point comeback and they were right there, and then Stafford threw a pick six to a defensive tackle or something.
Oh God,
they were down 31-10 at halftime and they scored 28 points in the second half.
I should
to make it a game
and lost by 2 scores.
A'Shawn Robinson had a 2-yard interception return for a touchdown in this game.
That's right.
I should be thankful that the Matt Patricia years was a lot of me going back through school and not.
That was Jim Caldwell, but yeah.
No. 2017 was the last. Oh, right. Shit. Yeah. No. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Caldwell's
You're right.
Year,
I'm
2018. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I still barely remember the Patricia years, all said and done.
I think most of us feel that way because there was another game that Jeremy and I looked at was 2020 against not even the Commanders. It was the Washington football team.
Yeah. We had no recollection of that game.
They have to go back to that name, right?
Why would they? They're awesome as the Commanders right now.
They probably need to change their name to the Washington Jaden Daniels.
I think they're changing their name again. Like, and now that because Daniel Snyder no longer owns this effing team. That's why.
But they're good right now. Why would you change anything?
Because Commanders is a lame name.
It's fine.
Because everyone calls them commies.
They are commanding. It's true.
They're less now, though. After losing to the Eagles, they are less commanding.
A little bit.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, but I really want the Jack Fox thing to happen. By the way,
yes,
we're already relatively close, and to be clear, when we're talking about raising $75,000, that's with everything. So that. We've already made over $1,000 on the auction. We're going to be adding more things to the auction as well in the upcoming days here. So
I'm terrified of our 30,000 goal.
I'm bulging just thinking about it.
I'm our $30,000 goal of the offensive lineman diet eating challenge to eat 6,500 calories in a day is terrifying to me.
I can do that easy, and I could do them in Uncrustables too if you'd like.
I will not do them in Uncrustables.
Uncrustables eating contest is kind of a great idea.
And before anyone says no, I will not go and do it off of Olive Garden meals either.
What I want to do for that one is I want to go up to an offensive lineman and say, "Hey, give me what you eat in a day. I'm going to try to do exactly that."
What's that stew that sumo wrestlers make?
Oh, I have no idea.
No,
That sounds like
no.
something you would
Okay.
know and I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think it's called like chanko nabe or something. Go look up some videos and stuff. It is like loaded with like shitloads of calories.
Yes, Texas Wolverine, the bean boozled cereal is coming your way as soon as my wife pays me back.
Fuck you, Dylan.
Well,
Fuck you.
I still have all
You
these
lying.
Bean Boozled that I can give to you.
Yeah, I just need to not be
man.
sick so I can show up to things. But I won't be sick for when something may or may not be happening.
That's true. There might be another fundraising event as part
There's
of November.
something else that's coming down the pike.
I'm really hoping it's getting announced tomorrow, Monday. It was supposed.
I would like
we were
that.
supposed to
I would
announce
like
it on
that
Friday.
because I would need to make some plans of my own.
Anyways, Ilix Man's Baloney. Is that
What?
like an
Jesus
Alex
Christ.
Ilix Man's Baloney? Thank you for the follow. The names here. I guess I appreciate the tribute, but thank you for the follow on Twitch.
At least it's not another bulge joke.
True.
Charizard boner still holds a place in my heart.
That's right.
Wait, did the Pistons, the game's final, so the Pistons really beat down the Wizards by 20.
Yeah, the Wizards are bad. But
Wizards suck. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that.
Speaking of another Washington team that should change their name. But yeah.
hey. All right. I got to do one more spin of the wheel, and I would like to do that now.
Okay.
I'll take Eat a Bug off since we've done it already. We'll just get rid of it.
I'm going to find somewhere to put on this Bengals Chargers game. I have a friend who's actually at the game right now. Oh, and the Chargers are up. Very nice. Ryan, we haven't talked about them. What do you think of the Chargers?
Texas Wolverine, the answer is yes.
Like, has this been actually a good year for Jim Harbaugh as like first year in the saddle in Los Angeles?
It's been a wild success. The Chargers are a franchise that have been allergic to winning, and they're killing it right now.
I think they've always kind of had some good talent there. It's just
And
that
they finally
genuinely
have a good
had
coach.
Yeah, someone who's not going to fail every fourth down. Go for it. He does.
Say what you will about Harbaugh's shenanigans and some of the drama that went on with Michigan and even back when he was with the 49ers, obviously, like, the dude can coach football. Like, he's just a very good football coach.
Yeah. Look,
you don't see that in a lot of college coaches going back and forth between college and the NFL
Right.
and
They're
having
very few.
success
They're very few.
at both.
And you would think drama is one of the worst things you can bring as a head coach, and yet, like, through it all, dude can coach ball.
Well, it helps he's also on the Chargers that's not going to have a media frenzy around it. Like, the Chargers in Los Angeles are probably like the number 8 in order of attention.
Yeah, that's fair.
But they won't be that if they keep winning.
No, they will absolutely not. And I definitely know a lot of people like looked up when Jim Harbaugh came to town. And yeah, I think there's only like 3 guys in my memory that can say really did it well between both college and pros, and that's, Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, and Jimmy Johnson. The only thing that Jim Harbaugh is missing to be in those other 2 is a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but the Harbaugh stuff is like now he's gone like back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like college to pro,
He came
then back to college and won a national
Pete Carroll did
championship.
that
and
too. From NFL to college to NFL, though.
Right, but did he take it? Did he take a team to the Super Bowl? His first stop in the NFL?
I don't think he
Where
did.
was he?
No,
First? I don't even remember where he was.
He was with the Patriots, I want to say.
Oh, so
No,
he wasn't
wait.
was he a head coach?
No,
Yeah.
not Patriots. Who was he with? He was with I'm going to kick myself after I say this. He was with the Patriots in the 90s. Yeah, he was with the Patriots in the Patriots.
Yeah, but I mean,
Jets and Patriots.
yeah, I mean, he had a 10-6 season. Good for him.
Yeah.
He didn't take a team to the Super Bowl and nearly win it.
They only really kept him there for 2 years, and then I think did he leave? I thought he might have been the one.
Looks like he was head coach for the Jets in 94 and
94,
then
90.
97, 98, 99.
He was the
He was
defensive
the
coordinator for them. Yeah.
head coach of the
Oh, right.
Patriots?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember how he left. He really didn't want to be in New England because of Kraft. Yeah.
Worked out for them both.
Yeah.
I will just say this. One of my favorite NFL moments to tell about people is Jim Schwartz meeting Jim Harbaugh at midfield and saying, "What the fuck is your problem?"
I don't even remember what that was about.
I don't either. I just remember Jim Schwartz losing it, as Jim Schwartz always did.
He did. All right, I'm gonna spin this. Are you getting out of here, Ryan? You put the jacket on.
Okay. I'll stay for the spin.
Okay, let me spin
Okay.
it. We got 10 up downs, Vegemite, another thing of pickle juice, or some bean boozled gross jelly beans. Here we go.
Vegemite. Vegemite. I'm rooting for Vegemite.
Ooh, came close. For the
Dang.
second night in a row.
More
bottle-
pickle
the-
juice.
the-
You're
the
gonna
bottle-
get a.
This might be the last one I have, so this might be the last pickle juice we do.
Figured
I
you
got-
just have tons of those empty bottles just hanging around your house.
No, they're gross. Pickle juice is gross.
How do you guys feel about Jeremy with a goatee? I think it's starting to finally
a good look.
starting to look normal to me.
Yeah.
I think he's impeding upon my territory.
You don't have much of the mustache going, though.
No. I shaved the other day, then I realized, oh crap, it's November. But also, I can't grow the mustache as well as you. It only comes in by bits and pieces,
You know how I do it?
very carefully.
That's right.
Lord Goofa. Nah, man, I keep jars of pickle juice in my house and I flick the juice on my
Ew.
sandwiches for flavor.
No, see, that's the thing.
Oh,
Like, if
man.
I ever go to a deli and you get, like, the pickle spear that goes with it and it touches the bread and makes the bread a little soggy there, like, I almost want to return the whole damn plate.
Oh, but you wouldn't be that kind of person.
I wouldn't, but I definitely want to be. I'd probably more, like, cut that part of the bread out.
Can Chris do up downs? I don't know about right now, but I do need to get into better shape, and I'm taking a lot
yeah.
more care of myself, so I will try at some point. Chris, you should keep the mustache. No, I've tried before. It genuinely bothers me to the point where I just can't stand it if I can feel it above my lip.
Apparently, Lord Goofa was referencing Hannibal Buress, which I feel like I don't know that bit, but I know Hannibal Buress a lot. My favorite Hannibal Buress line is like, I don't put napkins on my lap because I believe in myself.
That's a good one. My favorite Hannibal Buress clip is when he outed Bill Cosby's clip.
Oh man.
Fair.
I do owe an egg. I do have to get up early for work tomorrow, so I feel like I have to owe that at some point. I haven't forgotten about it though.
I should mention that next week might be a challenge for me because I do plan on going to Indy.
Yeah, we talked about doing the show on Monday, right?
Oh, we could, yeah. We did. You and me talked about that. I don't know if we mentioned it to Chris.
No, you didn't. But now that I know it, I can at least I can take some of my stuff and we'll do a post game stream,
Sure.
which we haven't done in a long time. Obviously, I'll be working on Sunday until about, I'll be home around 6:30 Eastern. That's at 10 o'clock. Is that it? Sorry, I almost said Pacific time.
It's a
That's
1
a 1
o'clock.
o'clock game.
Yeah.
It's a 1 o'clock. Okay. So it won't happen immediately after the game itself, but I will go live on Pride of Detroit.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to grab from Jeremy
night.
the donation button thing, and you know what? That's probably a good time for me to come home and set up everything for like the egg and everything too. So we will do that and have like a shorter like post game podcast before PODcast like we used to do back in the day. So yeah, we'll be live for like an hour or two after once I'm home.
Just so that we're aware. That's going to be a very loaded week if we do the podcast on Monday because it's a Thursday game after.
Yes.
So it'll be
And
like
I
Monday
don't
PODcast, midweek mailbag, first bite.
I
all
might be
within,
having
like,
a
72
special
hours.
guest. I might be having a special guest on for purview.
Okay.
A man who knows and hates the Chicago Bears.
How do I ban this person?
Very carefully.
Oh. Put user in timeout. 24 hours. Great. Oh, whoops. I just put Nightbot.
Oh, no.
I put Nightbot in the
Oh, no,
24
not Nightbot.
Sorry, Nightbot. You are actually doing your job. Oops. Whatever. It'll be fine. All right, let me drink this gross thing. Here we go. Because we've now raised over $15,000 to the Rogel Cancer Center at the University of Michigan, and we're only $275 away from another spin on the Wheel of Pain. Here we go. Oh, I just smelled it. It's terrible.
How was it this time?
Not great. Not great, Bob. Ugh. Have I seen the Warhead pickle? No. Is it anything like sour pickle balls? Because sour pickle balls are the worst, and that's on the extreme Wheel of Pain.
Ugh. All right, guys. I'm going to take off.
All right. We should probably close up shop here anyways, because I got a lot of work to do as always. But see you, Ryan. Thanks for stopping by, buddy.
Yep. Bye.
Don't do that.
Me or?
No. Ryan is little pew-pews.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Sorry, people are trying to guess it now.
Guess what?
Who I'm going to have.
Oh.
He's been on the podcast before. It's just been a few years.
It's pretty obvious. He talks about him a lot when he talk about the
Am I being
Bears.
annoying about this?
No.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
No.
If anyone pays attention to you talking about Bears people that you know, you talk about them a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, because I work with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan, I was doing pretty fine today. It was kind of touch and go throughout the game a little bit, where it's like, do I need to go to the bathroom right now, or no? I think I can hold it. Do I need to go? No, it went away. It's fine.
That's risky territory. That's
a little bit
risky territory.
Yeah, I do plan on driving to Indy.
It's a decent drive. It's not too terrible.
Is Josh here? Did he want to cash in the 5 eggs? I could theoretically do it right now if you want me to.
Bucky we've had on before, but he is not an expert on hating the Bears.
Do you how many do you want, Josh? I'll do them right now if you want me to. I would like to get to working on the newsletter a little bit, but I clearly have to wash my face. Do you want all 5 right now? No James Houston issues for me.
Nope.
All right. We'll do 5. We'll do 5 egg cracks.
Wow, you're doing okay.
I'm taking the shirt off though. We're not doing it on the nice dress shirt.
Yeah. I have to kind of clean up. I have too much stuff like sitting around my desk right now that I don't want to crack it. But I will owe it here very soon. Big trust.
I'm going to do what we did last night at Morgan's and lay a garbage bag under me, which seemed like what I probably should have been doing the entire time I've been doing these. I'm not going to take another shirt off. Pervy chat.
Oh, hi chat. Sorry, I was just checking on Ruby. I annoyed him picking him up, and now I've like barely played with him this week. First it was me with the migraine, and now it's been me coming back, and immediately coming on to these streams and going to work. So I'm desperate. Yeah, I see you sitting up, Ruby. Sitting up next to my humidifier. He's giving me the laser eyes. I'll play with him as soon as we get off here. Jeremy is setting this up. I feel like we got to set him up with the Patrick Bateman. Ruby is good. I'm not going to talk about too much of what he does. Chris, have you tried meditation or a salt float? Meditation to me really doesn't work. Salt float, I have not. That kind of stuff, I don't really even feel like I've got the money to try doing that stuff, but I could look into it. I mean, I am in Los Angeles, so I'm sure I could probably find a salt float somewhere, though. Yeah?
Yeah, I never tried it out, but yeah, there was a ton of... what do they call it? It's,
salt floats, yeah. It's float therapy.
The sensory deprivation chambers, too.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's one of the same. You know, I gotta change these out of these pants, too. I'm not gonna do that in front of the camera. But these are nice pants. I don't want to get them all over these pants.
I don't think we have like a salt float in the valley, maybe. I could probably head out towards like Thousand Oaks and get one. There is a salt cave in the valley. For me, I just want to get like active. I need to just be active. I'm going to San Fernando Valley. Yeah. I work at Fox Sports Radio. Not over at the Fox lot itself. I work with Fox Sports Radio's part of iHeartMedia. So I'm actually over in Sherman Oaks working with them. But I work with the radio side of things on almost literally every show. Mostly now receivers for Dan Patrick. I'm a technical producer and a board operator. Used to mini golf there. Very cool. Get a mountain bike. I don't have a lot of place to store a mountain bike. I love to swim. It's almost a little cold to swim now, but I'm taking a lot more walks. But I used to swim like a fish. I enjoy the radio. This is probably not the week to ask me about it because we just went through some pretty hellish cuts. iHeart across the board started slashing a bunch of people, and we weren't unaffected, and I think that was part of my stress freak out headache this week. I enjoy my goal is eventually, like, I would love having a radio show. Like I've told everyone I've met, like, I'd love doing that, because as much as I think we have fun doing this, Jeremy, but I think a lot of the fun we have doing this is that we treat it as live.
Right. The live aspect of it has added another dimension to it.
A very fun one.
Agreed. We get to do dumb shit like this.
Right.
Like crack 5 frickin' eggs. Guess what I don't get to eat tomorrow?
Hard-boiled eggs.
Because I only have one left now.
Oh, no.
But alright, I'm going to take the headphones off here.
Okay,
I'm on my knees,
Godspeed.
firing squad style. Zazu is right here. You can see his snout. See snout.
I like eggs too much.
All right, take the glasses off too. All right, are we ready?
All right.
Number 1.
Uno.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, you put it right in the hair, not the hair. That's actually smart because you save all the shell, I guess, from going everywhere. Do you have at least some place to put those, or is Zazu just going to get them? He can't hear me. I just realized that.
2.
Uno.
I can't hear you.
I know.
I hear you say hold on, but I don't know why.
No, I didn't say hold on. Go.
Okay.
Go.
All right, here we go. 2. Oh, that hit the green screen behind me.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
I went too hard on that one. Oh.
Jeremy without glasses looks like Jim Rome's cousin.
God. 3.
Uno.
Oh, God. Zazu's literally landing on top of him now.
Oh, Zazu's got to be going nuts. Don't let him eat shell pieces. Don't let him eat the shell pieces. Oh my God! Look at your hair is not going to recover from this. Jeez.
Garbage bag was a waste. Zazu's just looking it all up. 4.
They are not ground up nicely. Goofa, that is the problem. I don't know if 5 eggs is good for your hair. I don't think that much egg is good for your hair. I don't think raw egg like that is good for your hair. Good Lord.
A little ASMR for you.
Well, the Zoom kills most of our ASMR, but don't tell them that.
It feels kind of good in the hair, I'm not going to lie. Not so much on the face and the dripping down from the eyebrows.
That slick look on his hair is going to
My
destroy
hairline
me.
receding? I kind of feel like my hairline's receding.
People wonder why I wear a bandana. People wonder why I wear a bandana now.
$300 donation, that's all it takes. And that would also get us to another spin, just throwing that out there. I could smash that last egg.
Come on, reward him, chat. Just leave it. Caroline now has salmonella.
Oh, I missed the trash can. Ta-da!
You're not gonna put headphones on, are you? He better not. Oh, he's gonna put headphones on.
I'll be right back, just to wipe everything off my shirt.
Oh, God. No, that's not going away anytime soon. I keep asking if he wants me to do the things, and then it's just, you know. He picks a lot of stuff on these wheels of pain that that's like, hey, let's eat this thing, and I'm like, my stomach is too fucking weak to do this kind of stuff. Putting a good pick in the Discord. Thank you, Jack Churchill. We always appreciate this. Great reminder, by the way.
Hey, get out of the trash. Hey.
Exclamation point. Oh, okay.
Don't eat the egg.
Exclamation point Discord. We do have a Discord server.